Talk about some beloved Vikings that could be gone. All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus, and now it's time to talk about the tough subject, the elephant in the room. A lot of veterans that very well could be gonzo.
We may have seen the last game of these boys in purple. As sad that is to say, it's reality. We got to move on. You got to evolve. And these guys' time with the Vikings may be over. Before we talk about that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the vids. Also, go to liquor store, get yourself some Liftbridge brews. Fantastic way to, I guess, enjoy the rest of January.
Rest of January, February, March, April, any month is good when you got a Liftbridge. But we got 7 of them. In the comments, let us know hot and heavy. But one thing, it seems like every year we think that all of a sudden a bunch of guys are gonna be back, and all of a sudden they just randomly restructure, do something. So I don't know if we're saying these are definitely gonna be gone, but I think these are definitely all very good options.
Absolutely. The Vikings have to create cap room. They need to make some more draft capital. They don't have a lot of draft picks, so these guys may just be cut to save some money or be moved for some draft picks.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is a lot of these players really aren't performing very well, but some of them are. But let's start off with the newbie. Let's go with Darius Smith. Darius Smith, the shiny, beautiful toy we got, came on, ripped shit up that first half of the season, then just kind of got some injuries and petered out.
Just faded out. I was so excited when we got Darius Smith. I had very, very high expectations what him and Hunter could do together on this line. Didn't quite meet what I had. Looking at their stats together, it's going to look like they both had pretty solid seasons, but never really took over a game the way we thought they would. But Darius Smith, you mentioned it. I mean, you nailed it. Started off hot, faded out after that. I mean, he came back, said he was healthy. What do you have, like one pressure against the Giants? Something like that?
I mean, him and Hunter were at the top of the league as far as pressures. So they were getting after the quarterback. The sack numbers won't wow you, but I mean, he's going to save like $12 million or something like that. And that's going to be a big part of this is we need, like you said, we got some cap issues going on. And big part of it, what kind of defense we run next year? Who's our defense coordinator? Maybe we bring a defense coordinator that says, you know what? I need Darius Smith here. He's a big part of that. He's 30 years old. Still got a little bit left.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a very strong chance he could be a one-hit wonder with the Vikings.
One and done. Next up, let's go with another one and done. Let's go with Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks, the middle linebacker we signed. We're convinced they were going to be the next. Him and Kendricks were going to be the best damn middle linebackers ever.
Well, and Hicks, what was his final stats? He had a lot of tackles, but a lot of those times those tackles were 6 yards down the field. His pass coverage was horrible. He kind of showed his age yesterday against the Giants. Him and Kendricks both struggled to track down ball carriers. So I think it's time to go with youth movement at linebacker, and Jordan Hicks, I think more than Darius Smith is a stronger candidate to be one and done with the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, he's still pretty young, 26, but $5 million to save. And I thought his season was brutal. Not even just like last game. Everything was pretty bad.
Yeah, and it almost makes you wonder, I mean, was he healthy too? Did he have something going on that was never disclosed? I don't know. It just didn't seem like he had the oomph I was expecting from Jordan Hicks.
Oomph. Now we're getting into the ones that are going to hurt our hearts a little bit.
You're rubbing your titties there.
I don't. This is what I do when I get nervous. Let's go CJ Ham, the fullback. 29 years old, set about $3 million there. I don't know. You know my take on CJ Ham.
Well, he had more of a role in this offense than I thought he would. We both thought he maybe would be gone just because, Kevin O'Connell doesn't really need a fullback, but he used him. I mean, there was times he threw him down the field. He ran him on a freaking jet sweep. He used him a lot on the goal line. So CJ Ham, pretty small role on this team. Is it worth what he's paid? Probably not. We all love him. He's basically a local boy here. So it'd be hard to see him go, but financially it probably makes sense to move on. And I don't know if his position is really that vital to this offense.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is if Kevin O'Connell wants to continue to use a fullback, I think CJ Ham will be back.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, the money, $3 million for a fullback, but he when he was out there, he played damn good. He did exactly what we needed him to do.
Well, and I think that's almost the chicken and the egg situation. Did he use a fullback because CJ Ham was here when he got here, or did he want to use a fullback and was happy to have CJ Ham here? So I think that's the big question there.
We're gonna find out quickly. Let's go with Eric Kendricks next. Eric Kendricks is gone.
Yeah, I think last year we called him the heart and soul of this defense when he really was out there doing so much. Maybe that wore him out. Maybe it took some years off his life because this is just not the same Eric Kendricks. Missing
Years off his
tackles.
football career.
Yeah, his football life is what I meant there. He looked slow yesterday. There was times where it's been going sideline to sideline. He had no shot at catching. I don't remember who the hell it was, but maybe it was Daniel Bellinger even. I mean, just not the Eric Kendricks we've seen years past. I think his best days are behind him. He'll probably extend his career maybe a year or two more with some other teams if we're finally coming back to Minnesota and retiring a Viking, but I think he's definitely gone.
Yeah, and you say it's $9-10 million bucks. This one's really a no-brainer to me. And he did have some good games. The drop off with him was so steep so quickly because even last year he was ripping shit up. Let's go with the running back, Dalvin Cook. A lot of money to be paying a running back. And Kwesi, my thought is I think he's in that mindset where you don't put that much money into a running back.
Yeah, and Dalvin Cook, you look at his overall season, he had just over 1,000 yards. I think he had 2 100-yard games. Yesterday he had the one where I think he stumbled there and fell, which is he did that a lot this year, falling over his legs or the turf, whatever was getting him, bringing him to the ground. Still explosive, can still hit that home run ball. But it seemed like a lot of times this year, getting stuck behind the line of scrimmage, couldn't make the first man miss, and maybe he didn't have much of a shot. But I think Dalvin Cook still has a lot of good football in him. But at that price tag, we just seen so many teams do it. Go with a cheaper, a low draft pick, or an undrafted guy, or some crusty veteran, or a mix of the three, and they have just a fine running game. And that's the other question too. Kevin O'Connell really struggled to get this run game going consistently this year. Is that going to be the story of his career moving forward? Just not utilizing the run as much as we've seen in the past with the Vikings. So maybe the running back isn't that important in his offense.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook had rarely had games over 20 carries a game, which is crazy when you're paying him this much. And Dalvin Cook is still that damn good. He will go down as one of the best running backs the Vikings have ever had. But yes, he will latch on somewhere, and he should be a starter. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
All right, let's go to the last two that are going to definitely hurt our hearts a little bit. Let's start off with Adam Thielen. He's going to be 33 years old, big old cap number. He was on K-Fan this morning saying how he's got a lot of football left in him. He said he's got a lot of football left in him. He made it clear that he wants to be with the Vikings, but if it's not, he's going to play somewhere else.
Well, and his wife tweeted last night that basically said goodbye to Minnesota, that they want to keep playing football, and it's probably not going to be Minnesota. So I think they're both well aware of the situation. They know what's going to happen. It's a business, and I think definitely that's going to be a cut. Maybe they'll try to restructure him first, but if he comes back here, what is he going to be? The third receiver on the depth chart, and maybe the fourth or fifth actual target. I mean, look behind TJ Hawkinson. What a running back maybe will get target before. I mean, his role drastically decreased this season.
Yeah, he can't come back as a number 2. He really can't barely come back as a number 3. Here's what I think could happen. Vikings, they part ways. Thielen goes out there, sniffs around. No one's going to throw a ton of money at this guy. You won't. No, there's no way in hell they will. And then maybe the Vikings offer him a very, very smaller contract. And he says, you know what? I'm just going to retire a Viking. And he comes back and plays another season or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could do well in the slot. He's still quick, shifty. Just that long speed isn't there anymore. So see what he can do there. Maybe he can carve another 40 reception year.
All right, yes, at the right price. This one hurts the most for me. I don't know, Lupagus, where this goes, but Harrison Smith, 34 years old, longest tenured Viking, has absolutely lit it up. He's right there with Joey Browner for me as far as the favorite safeties the Vikings have ever had. But again, you're going to save like $7 million. 34. He's not even one of the oldest safeties. He's one of the oldest players in the league.
Yeah, Harrison Smith, he's had 5 interceptions this year. It was the sacks that we didn't much see from him coming and flying in. That goes back to that Donatell, the way he used them. I don't know. To me, Harrison Smith definitely isn't the player he was a couple years ago. But again, to have that leader back there, I always feel like he's also got the role of a dual coach. I feel like he's getting everybody lined up back there, helping them out, these young corners. Cam Bynum, who had a rough year. I think Harrison Smith was trying to get him in the right spot a lot too. So he's not only focusing on his job, he had to focus on everybody else's job. So that hurts. But yeah, it's probably time to make a move there too. It's just age has caught up with him. You got Lewis Cine already waiting in the wings. So the replacement is in-house. So Harrison Smith likely to go bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, after all these ones we just talked about, all the potential cap space savings, I mean, we're looking at like $50 million. And don't get me wrong, we're going to take a step back as far as how we're going to fill some of these holes. Just because they've lost a step doesn't mean they're not good. So it's going to hurt our heart. It's going to help our wallets, and hopefully get this defense going the right way, because even before this year, our defense hasn't been really that great with these guys.
Yeah, and one guy I don't think we talked about was Daniel Hunter, right? Daniel Hunter, another guy on this list.
I got more like a trade.
That's the one. That's the one I think the Vikings could look to move for some draft picks. Does he have another year or two on his contract? I think it's a pretty large number coming up there too. Save some money, maybe get some of that draft capital back. You hate to give up on or move on from a guy like Daniel Hunter, but if you're running the 3-4 again, I think he's just better off in that 4-3 front.
Hunter's Darius, I think that comes down to what they're going to do. And another one we didn't mention, Patrick Peterson, had a very good season. We'll see what happens there. Hey, if they want to bring him back for another year, I'm all for it.
Yeah, maybe not as a starter, though.
He's a pretty damn good starter in the league.
He's
a great year.
He struggled pretty bad last night against the Giants, but old PP. Yeah, a lot of veterans, a lot of new faces next year on this defense. It'll be interesting to see what the Vikings do.
Let us know in the comments what you think and who you want, Gonzo.
And remember this, a woman's breast may increase in size up to 25% when she is sexually aroused due to increased blood flow.